What's up, everybody? I'm Zach Morgan, and welcome back to Anime Art for Amateurs, Episode 4. That's right, I'm finally starting back with this series after a little bit of a hiatus due to the fact that school has gotten crazy, and I've started a new webcomic, and it's been just completely out of my hands. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and keep on with this series. Don't you worry, this will become a more regular thing later in the future. So today, I'm going to teach you how to draw hair. Now, hair is a thing that a lot of artists struggle with, but if you remember the simple process that you use to design the rest of the character, you should be just fine. Right here, I've got 4 different heads to show you how to draw 4 different hairstyles from scratch. So we're gonna start off with just like a basic female hair. Like we're just gonna let's do shoulder length with bangs so I can teach you how to draw bangs. So we're gonna start off with what we want the basic shape of our hair to be. Now, I want this hair to kind of float out and be about right here. Then we'll have a little flip off the top to show that it's a little bit messy. And that's gonna be the basic shape of it. Now, the first thing you really want to do is decide where your hair is gonna go. When you draw hair like this, you want to make sure that on the top of the head, the hair has a little bit of space to rest on. That way, when it comes over here, it's actually sticking off and it looks like it's hair on someone's head and it's not part of the head. If it was part of the head, it would look like you had what I call hat hair, where you wear a hat for a really long time and it makes your hair all greasy and it sticks to your head. Now, even though this isn't sticking to the head, you want to follow the form of the head down to a certain point so that it still looks like it follows the natural flow of the scalp. And then once you get to that point is where you can start to flow off. Now, what I like to do with this kind of hair is to kind of make what look like shark fins a little bit. That way it makes the hair look a little bit more messy and a little more natural. But you can do it just straight, you can do it really curly, or however you want the hair to be designed, just to make sure that it's really flowy, because hair usually isn't jagged unless you specifically style it that way. Now on this side, the fins can be a little smaller. But you see how it makes the hair look a little bit rough and it makes it look more realistic? So when drawing bangs, you need to decide which way does your hair part. Mine parts on this side of the face, but some people's parts on this side. But to make it easier on ourselves, we're gonna make it part from over here since I already drew a little crevice where the hair parts. So to draw bangs, the easy way is to do that. And that looks okay for a beginner, but you're not exactly a beginner. You want to really make your drawing pop. So you can draw bangs mainly going this way. You want to make a big shape. Remember, the basics of character design is to make a big shape and then focus on the little shapes. So we're going to move that hairline back a little bit and we're going to okay, so now that we have our big shape, we can focus on smaller shapes that branch off. And you want to kind of erase the scalp as you go. And before you know it, you've got a good looking head of hair that you can base a face around. Like this one is a little bit rough, so maybe she's tired and you can draw some lines under her eyes to reflect that. And maybe make her pupils smaller because she's hyped up on coffee and that's the only reason she's staying awake. Or maybe she just keeps her hair messy and she's really lazy, so you could draw her eyes halfway shut. That's a little bit small, but you still get the idea. that the hair can help kind of define the character. You want to draw the hair based on like how you think your character would style their hair, if they would style it. That's a little bit close for that eye, and a little bit big. It's a little better. But again, doing the big, simple shapes first and then focusing on the smaller shapes is what will help you really define your character's hairstyle. Or we could add another little whip of hair over there. And then you want to, over on this side, you probably want to curve it down to the face. That way it looks like, oh, that's her hair going down to that side of her head. And then coming out. And remember to sketch lightly, because if you don't, you won't be able to fix your work later. Like with this eye, which I'm definitely going to redo later. Now, hair from behind the ear usually comes right where the jaw ends. So if you extend the jaw out, it's right where it ends. And there you have it, one extremely simple. Yeah, I'm gonna fix that eye, it's bothering me too much. Let me. I think part of it is the way that her face is shaped. I didn't draw her face very well. For faces, you curve into the eyes, out for the cheeks, and then back into the chin, and you want to make the chin sharp. But drawing faces will be another tutorial I do in the future. And I think part of it is that her pupils are different sizes. Alright, but there you go. To start off with, we've already got a good base going. Now all we need is draw her some eyebrows so she can emote a little bit. Now to add some detail and some texture, you can go ahead and erase the scalp, because now she's got a good head of hair on her and it looks all natural and it looks all pretty. But now you can add some detail, like you can add some whips in here just to make sure that you want to follow the flow of the hair. See how this one kind of curves with the outside while it's going down? You can even add them up here, around here. You can add lines branching out from where she parts her hair. And as always, you can shade it. This is a very rough shading, but this is also just a sketch. Keep in mind that whenever you do your final drawing, you want to really go into detail with it, but not too much detail. Too much detail can make a drawing like this look bad. And there we go. We have a simple head of hair. Now, the next kind of hairstyle I'll teach y'all is a sort of like bob cut that only comes down to like right below the face and is super straight with straight bangs across. And it's even more simple to draw, but it's also very common in a lot of anime and manga, so that one's next. Alright, so when drawing a shorter haircut, it's sort of the same principles as a normal haircut, but instead you just make the length shorter. So again, you're going to follow the curve of the head with your brush, with your pencil, whatever you use. You want to follow the curve, but this time you can go all the way to where you want your hair to end. Since this cut's going to be pretty straight, it's a bit high for bangs. Bangs usually go right above the eyes. And again, you're just going to draw it like the same that you drew for the last one, but you're going to end the haircut right about here is about how long you want it. That's your basic shape. And you can have it like still float out a little bit. In fact, you probably want it to do that, so that way it looks like natural hair. This is a very common cut in anime and manga. A lot of people have this haircut. And usually these bangs have like a part over one eye, so you can draw that in. But again, it's just all straight lines. There's no mess to it. Usually characters with this haircut have like order that's important to them, or they're super organized or smart. Or they're just like suffering from protagonist syndrome. And again, it's a very simple cut. That's where her eyes would be, and I know it's not very pretty. But it's just a simple sketch and they aren't the focus. So there's your basic shortcut, but if you want to like make it a little bit fancier, you can add like the fin bits to the bottom and make it like a more anime-esque cut. You can even add them to the bangs a little bit and make them a little messy. But yeah, that cut's very versatile. And you can change it a lot to however you see fit. Now the next sort of cut that I want to show you, the next sort of hairstyle, is that of a ponytail. Ponytails are a little bit harder to draw. Let's put the eyes right there. Now ponytails are very hard because you have to define where the hairline is on your character before you draw it. So like, let's say you have a face right here, your hairline ends up being about right here. This is where the lowest parts of your hair would hang down, but since it's a ponytail, they're all pulled back to this point back here. So instead of drawing floofs down, like puffs downwards, like you would with this cut here, you see how it puffs downwards? You're pulling these puffs back, so I like to draw it in sort of segments that go back. And you want to draw the hair down below the ear too. And you can like let one hair loose. After you decide, like, your point should be right in the back of the middle of the head. That's usually where ponytails are. You have to think of it in kind of a 3D space. And then for your ponytail, you kind of just draw a little hump, follow the head down, and then flare out like you would with any other haircut. Except now you can add like a little twist to the hair by putting like a diagonal line that swoops down. And again, you probably want to shade one part of the ponytail and leave the other part to be like not shaded or to be highlighted even. And for anyone wondering why I draw ponytails like this, it is because of Ilya Amatola from Ruby. I really like how her ponytail looks, so I just keep drawing ponytails that way. But yeah, you can sort of see right there would be how you draw a ponytail. Now there's one more cut that I would like to show you how to draw, and that is the typical anime male protagonist haircut. Alright, so the typical male hair in most anime or manga is pretty recognizable. It's sort of a mixture between the first two styles that we covered, between the messiness of the first one and the length of the second one. So you want to start off by again defining the basic shape of your haircut. And we're gonna add a little flip to the top. We're gonna make it nice and rough. And he usually has a little, guys usually have a little bit of spiky hair in anime. I don't know why, they just do. Hair doesn't come off that far, at least on dudes. And we'll put his eyes right there. Now, anime guys usually have bangs, and we're gonna make his sort of swirl around like that. So we're gonna make his bangs go that way to his ear and then come down. And honestly, the big bangs do work, but a lot of anime choose smaller bangs, so we're gonna probably add some smaller ones in, like right here. We'll make this one a bit more complex and make it a bit more rough. This is a haircut I like to call the protagonist haircut, because any character, any dude that has this haircut is more than likely the main character of the story. Like, look at a bunch of anime and a bunch of manga, and you will see this haircut pretty much everywhere when it comes to the main characters. So now that we've covered the basics of drawing hair in anime, we've covered female hair like this, we've covered a short bob cut, we've covered ponytails, and we've covered the basics of like the most basic male haircut. I will now show you how to really make your hair with your figure, how to make it really flow and move with your figure to show a lot more motion. So I'm going to draw a quick, simple pose and I'll be right back. Alright, so now that we've covered the basics, it's time to go ahead and try to put this into practice. So here we have a basic female figure of a strong lady flexing her muscles. Now, for this, I'm going to try and kind of give her longer hair, like maybe down to mid-back with some bangs and maybe a little cowlick sticking up off of her head. Maybe not, I don't know. So, we're going to start off with the basic shape. I'm just going to go up here, around the head. Then you're going to follow kind of the curve of the body, but you're going to really exaggerate it. So you're going to curve, see how the body curves and flexes that way? We're going to make the hair flex way out. And end it off in kind of the shark fins that we were doing. Remember, big shapes and then little shapes. Now, if we drag this down a little bit because I drew it a little too high. If we add like a cowlick, usually means like it's sticking off the side. And I might do a tutorial on character design and what looks good. But that's basically how anime draws cowlicks. It's a little bit of hair that sticks off to the side. But anyways, now that we've got the basic shape of it down, we can go into the details with the bangs. And we're gonna, again, start with the big shapes first. And I like to have like these floppy things next to her ears. So that way it kind of covers up where her ear starts. And we can add fins and things. And now that we've got the basic shape, we'll add a ton of detail. Usually you can't see anything through hair, so you can erase anything that's inside of the hairline. And again, with this, you want to kind of make it so that you just add a little bit of detail to each part. Add some extra fluff. And make sure to zoom out every now and then to make sure it looks good, because stuff that looks good up close might not look good with the whole composition of the picture. But once you do that, now you've got a fairly good looking. Need to draw it up a bit more. You've got a fairly good looking head of hair. So remember, the technique that we discussed today, start with big shapes and then go small. If you can get the big shape right, then you can get the details right afterwards. Thank you once again for watching today, and as always, I hope you have an awesome day. Be sure to check out my new webcomic, Project Valkyrie. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check it out. Support the comic on Patreon. If you do, then we'll let you see pages early, up to 2 days in advance before they're made public. And as always, I hope everyone here has a fantastic day.